Jam was just popping then, and you had Comic View and you had Def Jam. So Def Jam was Bob Sumner, and it was the dude here. So people wanted to come to New York and impress Bob, so they came to take that over.
Hold on.
So good.
I thought I turned it off. Try this again.
And cut.
Nah, we ain't cutting. We're going right on back to the questionnaire. So.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice.
Yo, we sitting here with the one and only Ross Stapling, king of New York comedy.
Oh.
Pretty much king around the country right now, because all the old kings are either dead or doing bigger things, so it had to be somebody to take over the land.
Nah, let me get to that the New York King shit. The New York King, because it's a cocky name to say the New York Kings. Anytime you say you the king or something, even Burger King saying they Burger King meaning they the king of the fucking meat. It's New York Kings goes way back with whenever comics in the black market, not the mainstream comics, but the comics in the black market from around the country wanted to come to New York. They wanted to get work. If you want to get work in the black circuit, you have to talk to the host, whoever hosts those rooms. So whoever hosted the rooms most of the times was me, Capone, Talent, and Drew Frazier. Right, your original. So when we first started the Kings, that was like the core of it. Gerald Kelly was added to it, but he never really was a host. Gerald was always a comic who was just always known as a funny comic day, but he was never a host of 2 or 3 rooms.
That's a good stay. I don't mean to cut you off right now.
But you did.
Information that we got was that Gerald said that he was the guy who came up with the idea of Kings of New York, and he started it, then y'all took it a little farther.
Well, I'm not going to challenge you who started it, because that's not really as important as what you do with it. You know what I mean?
Right,
so,
right.
you know, who sit here and say who. It's what the idea of the New York Kings was. It was about all the comics that came up from Philly, or came down from Boston, or came from Chicago, Detroit. Def Jam was just popping then, and you had Comic View and you had Def Jam. So Def Jam was Bob Sumner, and it was the dude here. So people wanted to come to New York and impress Bob, so they came to take that over.
Hold on.
So good.
I thought I turned it off. Try this again.
And cut.
Nah, we ain't cutting. We're going right on back to the questionnaire. So y'all got the initially
the New York Kings
got started.
Right, that's initially, and that's what it was. It wasn't like, yo, we the funniest motherfuckers out here doing it.
Right.
It was the dudes that had their business together.
Right.
And we hosted most of the rooms. So if you came, I had the Sugar Shack, which was a legendary room back then in the day. That was like the first time people saw comics from out of town. Talent had the Boston Comedy Club, which was on Sundays, which was the crazy ill room down in the Village where he went for you see people like from Chappelle to Mike Epps to anybody on a Sunday. And then Capone had BBQs, the infamous BBQs on Saturday. So and then Capone would host a couple other rooms. So that's all that was. It was just us brothers getting together and getting our business on and throwing that together. You know what I mean?
Working with the Kings of Comedy, New York Kings, with your Capone, your Talents, there came an instance where that y'all had to separate and reform the group. Just like I call y'all like the New Edition. That's what I tell everybody. I say the Kings of New York are like the New Edition. Gerald Kelly is like Bobby Brown. Yeah, they can work with him or they can work without him. It still don't matter.
Yeah, that's a good analogy to say that we were like New Edition. You know, form it to BBD and then come back and then do solo things. That's really what it was. But you got to realize when we first started the New York Kings, it was just we were mad young. So our priorities were fucked up. You know, comedy pretty much came last. It was about who's just gonna be the funniest, who's gonna pull this chick, who's gonna do this, who's gonna get to the after party first. All of the same things that was important in New Edition, early, riding in different buses, and all of the stuff. And you find out at the end of the day, the shit ain't important.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But when we decided to come back and do this over again, we worked at it. We sat down and had our meetings. about what the do's and the don'ts were. We knew that needed to be some changes. You know what I mean? So, and you know, it's not for me to sit here and throw anybody under the bus. You know what I'm saying? To say that this person is worthy of that, because I have respect for anybody that do this kind of shit. Anybody that feeds their kids or do this shit, I got respect for. But if I'm going to be involved, there got to be some changes, or I'm not doing it. Now, that's all I say. Now, I say that same thing to any comic. If somebody books you for a show and the promoter tells you that this show's for this amount of money, don't bitch about it the night of when it's time to get paid. You made this agreement, move forward with it. That's how I feel like with the Kings. This is what we say we're going to do when we move forward. Let's state it as we move forward.
Whoa! Hop up on you, just like CNN, Comedy Network News do. They got all the stuff, all the big surprises. You want to tune in and watch it. They gonna tell you everything that's going on about Capone and the little baby that happened, about Jimmy Martinez and all the stuff that's going on, about Ray Deshaun and how he keep raping people with his old hands. Click CNN News. Get it right now. I'm just playing. Please don't print that. I know they will get mad, but fuck them, I'm rich.